This episode is made possible by US Bank and Brex, the AI-powered spend platform.
Hello, this is Zach Johnson, CFO of Cribble, and you are listening to the CFO Thought Leader podcast.
This is episode 1061.
So, for example, one of the metrics that we're looking at is adoption. We want to ensure that every customer sees value extremely fast. So we want to ensure that after 30 days from the day that someone signed, we see some kind of engagement in their platform. And if not, we kind of have an entire committee around us to ensure that the person will see value, because we don't want to wait, it doesn't matter what is the reason. We don't want a customer to pay us and not see value. Adoption and retention is extremely important for us. And at the same time, we want to see that the combination of ARR that we're achieving as a company has the right proportion, meaning that ARR that's coming from new customers and from upsells has a specific percentage which makes sense for our stage as a company.
Hi, it's Jack. On today's show, we speak with Kfir Lippmann, CFO of Salt Security. CFO Kfir Lippmann began his career inside the Tel Aviv offices of Ernst Young, auditing high-growth tech clients and navigating the intricacies of IPO-bound businesses. The experience gave him a deep understanding of strategic finance early on, Lippmann explains. Later, he joined Monday.com when it was still a small startup, helping scale the organization through multiple investment rounds. Secondary transactions can be tricky to manage. It's about maintaining fairness and long-term vision, or so Lippmann tells us. You'll hear about that and much more on today's episode. Our talk with Kfir Lippmann begins after this. Are you tired of manual, fragmented, and time-consuming expense management processes? Then the US Bank Commercial Rewards Card might be right for your business. More than just a card, it's an all-in-one card, expense, and travel management solution that replaces outdated expense management methods with a single intuitive platform. Specifically designed to scale with your growing business, it provides the control and real-time insights into spend that you need. It integrates with your existing tools, lets you set custom spend policies, captures all expenses automatically, and liability is kept at the corporate level. Employees can even book travel right in the platform. You also get to choose your rewards, either points or rebates, all while saving money with no annual fee. So why wait? Manage your cash flow better and streamline your business operations today with the US Bank Commercial Rewards Card. Visit usbank.com/CFO to learn more. Hello, we're speaking with Kfir Lippmann, CFO of Salt Security. Kfir, welcome.
Hi, Jack. It's great meeting you. How are you?
Yeah, likewise. Good morning. We always begin by asking our CFO guests to look back for us, Kfir. And if you wouldn't mind, take a look back for us and identify some of those experiences you feel prepared you to become a CFO. What would come to mind for you?
Yes, sure. So I started my journey at a big audit firm called Ernst Young, which you're probably familiar with. And I learned how to be an auditor at the beginning with big tech companies. And I worked there for around 5 years, where I was exposed to many different industries.
Can I ask what, and I would love to know, and I know it's an Israeli company. Where is it based? What city are you in?
In Tel Aviv.
You're in Tel Aviv today. And it was E&Y when you joined Ernst Young, was that Tel Aviv as well?
Yeah, that's correct. That was in Tel Aviv as well. It's still based not far from where I'm based today.
The accounting houses, the big five accounting houses we know as the big five, are they all fairly represented throughout Israel? Or how would you, Ernst Young, we've had several Israeli companies on, and it's always been Ernst Young. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm sure Price Waterhouse is there and what have you. But can you give us a sense of what the accounting house climate is?
Yeah, so the accounting industry in Israel is mostly, like the tech companies are mostly with Ernst Young and PwC.
Yeah.
But Deloitte, PwC, and Ernst Young are the biggest and ones which are controlling the market here in Israel. There are some companies which are mostly the banks industry and insurance, which are with KPMG and others.
Yeah.
But the main ones are with...
They're all represented. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So initially, were you auditing technology clients?
Yeah, so initially I was auditing technology companies, mostly ones which are post-IPOs, but some of them, like Wix, if you're familiar with, the ones which were building, like a website building company, were exactly at the transition of becoming a public company. So I kind of had companies which were before IPO, during that phase, and post-IPOs companies.
Tell us something about the technology base over there. These companies, it's security software, I think, is really Israel's well known for. Many, many leaders in the space.
Yes, we have a lot of people who finished the army in some of our elite units, which have some of them have cyber technology embedded in them. And so we have a lot of people which kind of have the culture of entrepreneurs, exiting, military and having both experience that they've gained during the military, and at the same time, a lot of tech backgrounds, which help them kind of be very innovative and move extremely fast when building companies. Yeah. So when you combine kind of the cloud, everything that happened with the cloud, plus this kind of DNA, which makes you move extremely fast, you start creating a lot of companies which get built extremely fast.
When you say you're emphasizing the speed at which the workforce is capable of moving, like it's like a culture thing. We do things fast. Help us understand better when you say we move fast. What does that mean?
So like every company that I've met here in Israel has this saying, one of like the values of the company, or however you want to call it, that moving with speed is one of the cultural like benefits that the company has. So just to give an example of how this works in reality, is if, for example, a company wants to execute a roadmap that would usually take companies out of Israel longer, like for example 12 months, in Israel we will expect to do it in 1 quarter, because we're expecting to like build things a little bit differently and make people work creatively in order to achieve our goals. So this is kind of the DNA, and this is something that we're trying to like replicate in different companies.
Did you see finance as a sort of a gateway that would allow you to become strategic as an executive faster? I mean, as an auditor, you saw into these businesses via their numbers, and as you moved into industry, you were going to have lines of sight into these businesses that others didn't. I mean, was it? And again, I'm always trying to see, was it always going to be finance for you? Could you have gone operations? Could you have gone marketing? I don't know.
So it's a very good question, because you join as a finance leader into the company, but very fast you turn to be a very material like organization in the company to make it move faster. And one of the, like, if I need to divide my time within the company, it's like 60 or 70% has to do with operationalization of different aspects of the company. And it's much more operations than finance. In different stages, of course, when the company is before an IPO or before a big transaction, then kind of put my hat of a finance leader and turn to invest more in that aspect. But most of the time is invested in creating better procedures, optimizing our efficiency as a company in different places, kind of rebuilding different departments in order for us to achieve our goals.
I'd like to just get some insight into your mindset when it comes to career building. You're at Ernst Young for roughly 3 years, and then you step into industry, really. What is it that you're looking for? If you can go back in time for us, what was the type of job you wanted, and why did this one kind of check the box for you?
So I was looking for a tech company which was relatively at the early growth phase, meaning that there is a proof of value already for customers, and that there's they're already paying customers to that company. I was trying to see how joining an early stage company can help, how I can accelerate that growth with kind of adding additional value, which is not only from a financial aspect, but more from operative perspective. And so I was looking for a company which is around 50 to 150 employees, kind of joining that and helping accelerate that growth. I was thinking about companies which have already kind of a solid base, but at the same time are in their early phase and are going to conquer a big market. And therefore, there's a lot of growth opportunity within those companies.
And you were a finance manager at your start in industry. Were you trying to already get to the FP&A side of the house and not necessarily the accounting controllership side? Because I think you do go the FP&A path, but you can correct me.
No, that's correct. So from a very early stage, when I joined that company, my first company after Ernst Young, I was kind of juggling all around. I was at 30% of my time playing the accounting role, 40-50% of my time in FP&A, and the rest of the time I was more in an operational role. So when the company is relatively small, finance leaders or finance people who are in those kind of roles kind of do everything. It's there's a funny saying in my country, these are kind of jugglers. They're all around. Then when the company grows, you try to be much more specific. There's an FP&A person, there's someone who only involves with reporting and taxes. But these are usually when the company grows and you need more of those specialties.
You stay there for you stay there for a number of years, and then it's on to your next company, which is a company we know. The CFO has been on our podcast Monday. Tell us a little bit about what was the opportunity that led you there.
Yeah, so Monday when I joined was relatively small. When I joined, it was around 40 employees. I was 40th employee with around $4 million of ARR. And I kind of took control on all that aspect of managing all the financial aspects of the company from that stage till post-IPO. And I think that was...
Did you feel like you were taking a risk at that time, stepping into a company, again, 40 employees? Did you think of it as a risk, or no, this was just a great opportunity and you felt confident it was going to?
It's a good question, because I did feel as if it was a risk, because at that point, the company was before a big investment. The company was almost, in our last dollars before having our 2017 round. Yeah. So we were more or less, we had around 6 months left. And so the company was with a lot of risk, but at the same time had a lot of potential. And at that stage, I believe that was a good or a calculated risk, which will help me a lot in my career. Kind of joining a company which has a lot of opportunity of growth, and that I can contribute to it.
And you made an investment there of 5 years and 3 months. And when you do come out the other side, you're stepping into a CFO role at Salt Security. I don't want to reveal your entire hand here, but you had a lot of good growth during those years. I think you just talked about the capital raises. I don't know if the timing's right. Were you there for the IPO eventually or no at Monday?
Yes. So I kind of joined the company and led 3 different investment rounds and numerous secondary transactions before the IPO. Yeah. And then I kind of prepared the entire company for the IPO, which eventually happened in June. So I exited and joined Salt Security, where I am today, around October. and I helped with transition to making the company public.
So, regarding that last advancement, uh, was it part of your professional network that allowed you to arrive in the CFO office, or was there a recruiter involved?
Yeah. So while I was IPOing Monday, I met a lot of different bankers from different, like Goldman Sachs and Bank of America and so on. And one of the people I met in that journey was in Bank of America, which his name is Gilad, which I extremely appreciate. And he was at the same time not at the same time, but he was involved in the Israel industry. And he met Salt Security CEO. And like 6 months later, it was like around October or something like that, he mentioned he talked with our CEO and he kind of did a connection. So it was through one of the bankers, which helped in Monday's IPO.
So it's a great sprint you've had to the CFO office, we would say. You did it within, roughly 10 years, I suppose, which is remarkable. Tell us about Salt Security. What was this company? What is it about? What are its offerings?
Salt Security is an amazing company, which is backed by the biggest investors out there, so like Sequoia and Capital G and others, and S Capital and others, which are on our board. But the company is in the cyber industry, and what it does, it defends or protects APIs within the organization. So today, all the applications out there are connected with APIs. So if someone, for example, wants to connect to their bank account to see what's their balance, they use an API in order to see to connect to the company's storage. And in order for that, it's all connected with APIs. And in order for the banks or other organizations to protect the company, we are protecting that layer, which is called the APIs, and we can prevent from attackers to do kind of miserable things to companies. So our industries, when you think about different companies which can use us, the market is endless. And I think this goes back to the question why I chose Salt Security. Again, it's similar to what happened with Monday. These companies have an enormous base of companies which can be customers. So in Salt Security, we have customers from the retail, from banking, from every industry, from tech, every industry that you can think about. We have customers from that industry because all of the new companies are connected with APIs. But 40% of the Fortune 500 are customers of ours. Companies have a weak spot in APIs. We kind of help them protect this entire domain.
And again, you've been there 3 years now, is it roughly? Yeah.
Yeah.
So time marches on. The finance function that you found versus the finance function you lead today, can you tell us what's changed about it? How it's matured?
The way I like to do it is I like to enter a company and check what we have. What do we have and what we need to rebuild, or what we need to strengthen to add more layers of depth. And so when I joined, we had one FP&A person, which was kind of juggling like I've done before in the past. He was doing accounting at some degree, but most of the time FP&A, and one bookkeeper. Today we have a team which is more robust. We have an accounting individual who's handling only aspects of reporting and accounting. We have an FP&A person. And we have a few additional people which are analysts, which help us in business perspectives. In addition, I kind of took the role of managing IT and legal as well. So I have different hats in the company, which are mainly all the G&A aspects of the company.
Can you just give us a sense of, is there an FP&A team today?
So the FP&A is a integral person in many decisions of the company. It's both in building the budget and kind of ensuring that we're following and not, that we're following the budget that we have approved. But not only, I think the more interesting part of that role, which helps us manage the company better, is defining and building KPIs, which are both presented here in screens, like in our Tel Aviv office, but both available for all employees, kind of revealing and giving full transparency to employees where are the places which we need either to invest, or where are the places that we're behind. So kind of building together with the different managers and this FP&A individual different KPIs so we can monitor and can lead the company to the right places.
So what we'd like to understand better is, as you arrived 3 years ago, was there, have you used transparency in some ways to help educate the organization and change behaviors or modify behaviors?
Yeah, so I think there are many, I'm not sure I want to say many, but there are a few KPIs that I do want all the employees to be aware of. Yeah. And these are the leading indicators that, that we need to follow in order to ensure that we're at the right place. So for example, one of the metrics that we're looking at is adoption. We want to ensure that every customer that pays us sees value extremely fast. So we want to ensure that after 30 days from the day that someone signed, we see some kind of engagement in their platform. And if not, we kind of have an entire committee around this to ensure that the person will see value, because we don't want to wait, it doesn't matter what is the reason. We don't want a customer to pay us and not see value at that phase. So adoption and retention is extremely important for us. And at the same time, we want to see that the combination of ARR that we're achieving as a company has the right proportion, meaning that ARR that's coming from new customers and from upsells has a specific percentage which makes sense for our stage as a company. So we're kind of pushing. We're trying to have these metrics and goals for the company and explain it to all employees in our company meetings and in different dashboards in order for us to achieve, the business goal that we have.
And that speed to value metric, is that revealed to you via the data? I mean, you can see how a customer is engaging with the offering via data. Is that how it's done? It appears as if this is a highly engaged customer, given the fact that it engages with us twice daily. I don't know what it might be, but
no, this is the rationale. We want to see that a paying customer enters into the system, but not only enters into our platform, but also does active, we call it active attackers blocking within the systems, in order to see that there is engagement, which is adding value to that customer. So it's not only checking that someone enters the system, because this can be automatically done or by something which is not really using, but we want to see that the real actions that person is doing is adding value.
As far as resource allocation, this speed to value, if you realize that you're not achieving the speed to value that you want with, I don't know, a big enough percentage, do you start thinking, how do we allocate more resources to offer greater assistance to our customers in the early adoption stage? Or, what are we not giving them to succeed here in the early adoption stage?
Oh, Jack, it feels as if you work in the company. You're spot on. So yes, we are. These things are monitored on a weekly basis on our management call. We check these things. We see exactly where the customers which are less engaged or more engaged, and then we have specific action plans to the ones which are less engaged. It can be done in different aspects. It can be either allocating more CS roles, or if there is something that needs to be developed from a feature perspective, we address that as well. So it's kind of a combination of different things that we need to do in order to ensure success.
When you folks do come together and realize, okay, we're succeeding, or okay, we've got something we need to fix, could you give us a sense of how it's addressed? Is it something that's on your radar first? And I would suspect that you're borrowing a page from those companies you were with before. How was it done then? How did they collaborate? What was the conversation? I mean, and it's the same for your leadership peers.
If I go back like 20 years ago, I remember that people used to tell me that the finance person is the bad guy in the company. And he needs to scream on the VP R&D or whatever, or the CMO that they're overspending. I don't believe at all with that strategy. I think that today it's someone who works together with his peers, kind of explains the rationale behind what we need and how to achieve it. So my philosophy is kind of building or helping the different functional leaders understand what we need, build them kind of, I call it maps, but it's eventually KPIs or dashboards that help them navigate between all the data that we have, and then kind of have weekly or bi-weekly like meetings in order for us to monitor these kind of stuff. But it's kind of a discussion that's happening all the time that the functional leaders need to be part of it. It's not something that, I don't think, if you want to move fast, it needs to be done with, people working together, not in silos.
Have you ever gotten some pushback with some of the functional leaders saying, "Hey, Kfir, too much with numbers. Not another dashboard, please. Not another dashboard."
I think it's, one of the things that we used to have at Monday, we used to have, like, I remember, more TV screens with KPIs than employees, which was something that the company was extremely data driven.
Yeah.
And I think that was something extremely healthy, which helped the company. But with all those different dashboards, we did have one dashboard which kind of summed all of the different KPIs. And we have the same here at Salt Security. We have different KPIs for different departments, but eventually we call it management dashboard, which has 5 main KPIs, and that's it. If everything works well in the different departments, it needs to be translated into that specific dashboard, which gives us a good insight how the company is performing.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, yes, we have, like, if someone doesn't want to understand anything in the company, he needs to know only 5, and if these 5 are okay, then we're in the right path.
Well, I just want to quickly touch on AI with you. And over your 3-year tenure here, I think ChatGPT, is it 2 years ago it made its debut? So it's really your tenure where the conversation around AI has just been taken to a whole new level. It's been part of your world, obviously, for years, but you're being asked increasingly about it. How is AI really a strategic lever? Is it really giving, Salt Security a competitive advantage in some way?
So it is. One of the things is that we have extremely sophisticated machine learning algorithms, and they use some of the AI in order to to improve themselves, kind of educate themselves. So the company is using AI in different aspects of their development.
Yeah.
In the finance aspect, for the latter part of the question that you asked, we are using it, but it's mainly anecdotal. It's not something that we use today in a robust way of kind of forecasting our numbers. We do use it for mainly for legal things and all kind of policies that we want to create, but it's less about our forecasting at this stage.
Less about your forecasting. Are your team experimenting with generative AI? Are they coming to you and saying, look what we're doing here? What is your mindset?
So we are of course adding. We do have some places that we added. It does give us some kind of sense of there are different tools that we use it can be for travel, for different systems, for payments, which give us all kind of anecdotal AI assumptions, but it's not at this stage something core for our building our strategy, but it does help us in different tools like Salesforce or NetSuite or different tools which we have within our software that we're using. But
Excellent.
yes, my peers and people that work with me always have these things, and I am of course open for using AI. We need to help move faster, so this helps.
We are up to our finance strategic moment question, where we're going to ask you to share with us just one moment of insight that you've had along your career. And again, we're looking for a good story about how finance plays a strategic role, something you saw up close and personal. What comes to mind when we ask for a finance strategic moment?
So I have a few points like these. I think one is the preparation of the IPO, which is a heavy lift, which was like 6 very intense months kind of preparing the company. But I'll choose something which is a little bit smaller in its magnitude, but I still think has a lot of impact on the company. And that's something that's called a secondary transaction. So secondary transactions, I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with, but are situations in which the company or the employees of the company or the shareholders sell shares, and the money doesn't go into the company, but goes between the employees or the investors which sold those shares. So I kind of led 3 significant secondary transactions in Monday. And, when the average age of the employees in tech companies is relatively low, around 30 years old, and they sell a portion of their options, they can make a significant amount of money in a short period. It can be people which are 2 or 3 years in the company. And then this creates kind of something that you need to handle. Both there are some employees that joined a year later and didn't participate in those transactions, and they are not entitled to join these secondary transactions. And then you can find yourself in a place which 2 people, which are 2 developers, sitting one each to each other, one which has a significant amount of money that he gets from that transaction, and the second which does the exact same work and is contributing in the same way, which are now in kind of different places. So besides the psychological aspect of that, it was kind of the way that I kind of led it is both educating the employees of what to do in these kind of situations when you meet a significant amount of money. And kind of showed that there are different aspects that you can do it. And I really didn't want people to go and blow it all on an expensive car, but more invested. It's not the company's job, but I did find myself as, kind of the grown-up trying to say to people, hey, you're relatively young, let's not do foolish stuff with them.
Have you heard about Brex? It's the world's smartest corporate card. Finance leaders love it because it's got powerful controls and rewards that help them make every dollar count. Here's why Brex cards are so smart. You can embed your expense policy inside the card. This lets you control employee spending before it even happens. Brex cards also automate manual expense, tasks like receipts, memos, and reviews. So you're freed to focus on optimizing your company finances. Over 25,000 companies take every dollar further with Brex. Join them at brex.com/grow.
We want you to think back to 3 years ago when you first stepped into the role. We know you had observed up-close CFOs in the past. Is there some piece of advice you would go back in time and give yourself? What would you tell your younger self?
Yeah, so I think every company is a little bit different, and when joining this company, which is mainly enterprise sales, the average customer which pays hundreds of thousands of dollars for each account, which is a little bit different than in different industries like Monday, for example, which the accounts, so there are a lot of accounts, but there are smaller amounts in dollar value. Is that you need to kind of extremely understand the magnitude and the differentiation between selling to large organizations which pay hundreds of thousands of dollars a year compared to like smaller accounts. I think this is something I could have learned differently, handled differently at the beginning. So this is an advice that I would give younger people. When they join companies, the first thing that they need to understand is exactly not only who are the customers, but how does these organizations perform in all aspects. It can be both what kind of service they're expecting, how they're expecting to pay you, what is the level of security that you need to have. It's like kind of a different understanding of the business, which you need to gain extremely fast.
Kfir, we always like to ask our guests to reflect a little bit on the personal side for us, wondering if there's something perhaps your colleagues might not even know about you, something, an interest that you have, something, a chapter from your past. Don't know. Anything come to mind?
I know many people don't know that I was born in Kenya.
Really?
Yeah.
Were your parents in the diplomatic corps, or what was the...
Something similar. They were kind of helping build Nairobi into different, kind of designing the roads there. So I was born there and I lived there till I was 8. And then, I moved to Israel. And yeah, and I like hiking, and I'm supposed to go to the Kilimanjaro next year. So this is like kind of...
Wow, wild. Great share for us. Is there a book or something that's influenced your thinking along the way, something you would recommend to other finance folks? And you know what? It doesn't have to be a business book. It might just be something you escape with.
There's a book called Extreme Ownership. It's nice because they talk about the Navy SEALs and how they kind of work together. They kind of mentioned that they're not the best, but the fact that we're working together and they understand the different aspects of each other in a very good way makes them perform extremely well. And I think this is it's a big learning for me, because sometimes you can have individuals which might like each one of them won't be the best, but together, when they kind of understand each other, they can perform terrifically.
Yeah, they can magnify their impact. Wonderful. We're up to our final question, where we're going to ask you to look forward finally. We'd like to know what your priorities are as a CFO of Salt Security for the next 12 months. What's the priorities?
I think it's mainly delivering on our business goal. It's both growing our top line and at the same time retaining existing customers. When meaning retaining, I mean that we need to ensure that not only we retain the customers, but we upsell them as well, so they can contribute to our growth as well. At the same time, deliver a lot of value to our customers. They will be satisfied and kind of replicate our success. This is one aspect. And the second thing is expand in the US faster. Just kind of hire people on time, make sure that we're building the right infrastructure for them to be successful, and then be able to perform extremely well next year.
You have offices here?
We have offices in Palo Alto, and we're thinking about opening offices in New York.
I see. Well, there's plenty of space available, but we'll keep our eyes out for you. Kfir Lippmann, thank you for joining us on CFO Thought Leader.
Thank you, Jack.
Hello, everyone. Jack here. Hope you've been enjoying our recent episodes of CFO Thought Leader. Please know that I don't take for granted this opportunity to serve you. Your time is valuable, and of course, so is the time of our CFO guests. I'll admit to you on certain weeks, I will pinch myself and say, hey, I get to do this for a living. I speak to all these impressive leaders. Undoubtedly, there are more aggressive interviewers out there, some who leave no stone unturned. But our swim lane is for finance leaders only. And those finance leaders have a unique style of leadership, one that is rooted in the burden of trust. In light of this, finance leaders must take great care not to forfeit this trust as they step into the role of being a more expressive leader. And that is what CFO Thought Leader is really about. That's why I try to remind myself week in, week out, how fortunate I am. Still, I need your help. Tell us what we're doing right. tell us what we're doing wrong, email me your comments at jack@cfothoughtleader.com. And please visit cfothoughtleader.com. You'll find a listener survey right on the nav bar. As always, thank you for listening.